what type of advice do people seek from you? What type of advice do people seek from you? Next is, what is one thing that no one will ever change your mind about? What is one thing that no one will ever change your mind about? And the next is, what is your life philosophy? That's a pretty big question, but maybe if you had to sum up your life philosophy, what would be the most important aspects that you would include in describing what that is? What is your life philosophy? And finally, how do you handle it when someone disagrees with something you deeply believe to be true? How do you handle it when someone disagrees with something you deeply believe to be true? Now I'm going to invite you to take a look at the King of Swords, either the one here, which is from the Victoria Regina Tarot, or the one from your own deck. You might like to compare them. And if you like, you can close your eyes and imagine you're standing with him, one of those kings. I'm just going to talk a little bit about what the kings are about. Now, they're not as easy to summarize in a single word the way I did last month with the queens. There's a lot of debate about one thing. A lot of people associate each suit with a different element. Like the queens, pretty much everyone agrees that the queens have some quality of water in them, even if it's the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Wands, Queen of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles. They all still have water in them. Now, the kings, some people think that they all have the element of fire in them, and some people think they all have the element of air in them, and some people think they all have the element of pentacles in them, and it really depends on what aspect of the king you're focusing on that will make one of those feel true. So they're a little bit harder to pin down. Of course, they all carry the energy of their suit. And part of the reason they're hard to pin down is because they're transition cards. The kings come at the end of their suit. So king has established a kingdom. That's what makes him a king. In this case, the King of Swords would have a kingdom of air. So air relates to the mind, to communication, to knowledge. And so the King of Swords would have conquered and established some kingdom of knowledge, or so you might have that in a specific area or specific topic. But kings are also, they don't just establish a kingdom. Their job is then to set their sights on the next thing they're going to claim. So it might be a new piece of knowledge that they're going to incorporate into the knowledge. King of Swords, again, being the focus on knowledge. Because of air, might be looking for new wisdom to gain, new, maybe new college courses or something to add to his career, or maybe a whole new direction altogether. So some words that came to mind with these things in mind. For me, when I was brainstorming different words to communicate the actions, whereas the queens hold space for kings execute, they establish, they finalize, they complete, they release, they authorize, they rule, they manage, they control, they transform. They can take a stand for what's already established. They can insist on having the last word. And words that you added into the chat or that relate to the kings are dignity, knowledge, especially with the King of Swords, abuse, power, insanity, ordained by God. There's just some of the things. So another thing the King of Swords is known for is being very, one way to understand tarot is to recognize what's not there. So he's of the mind. And the Swords cards in the tarot often are perceived as very emotional, but actually the swords aren't about emotion. That would be in the Cups cards. There's actually a level of analysis. This is the mind without emotion, without concrete physical form, of the pentacles, without the passion of the wands. So there's some rationality, another quality specifically with this King of Swords. Can be very rational. So I want to give you some space tonight to think about some of the beliefs that you hold. And maybe for that purpose, you could choose just maybe something that came up in those first questions, something that's important to you. It might be something that's a belief that creates conflict for you, but it's very important. Actually, let's start with bring to mind a belief that you hold that helps you, that you find allows you to connect with other people. Maybe not all people, but with some people. Just sit with that. Maybe bring to mind who those people are. Bring to mind what spaces that belief allows you to share. Maybe some activities that arise from this belief. As you sit with this, just take note of how your breath is moving through your body. No reason to change it. Just notice how it is. If there's a specific place in your body where you're most aware of your breath, it might be your nostrils, might be the movement of your ribs. Next, bring to mind a belief or some knowledge that you hold that is not so common, but that people might seek from you. What type of advice do people come to you for? Bring to mind the people that come to you for this advice. Bring to mind the environments that you are in where people are coming to you for this advice. Then just notice how your breath is moving through your body. Take note if you notice any differences. You call these scenes of giving advice. Notice where the breath moves your body. Does it cause your shoulders to lift? Your belly to expand? You notice your back ribs expand. letting go of any thoughts of any advice you might have been giving. Bring to mind a time when your beliefs created some conflict for you. Mm. Choose a memory that feels safe in this moment. So if there was a big conflict, maybe focus on something that was not as powerful if it feels too intense. Bring to mind the people that were involved in this conflict with you. Take some moments to remember how each person handled it. And you might want to imagine the space, environment where this conflict happened, just to bring yourself, your awareness back to that moment, just for the purpose of learning something from it. Bring your awareness to your breath. Notice if recalling this situation has brought any changes. Has your breath become constricted at all? Maybe you don't remember any changes now, or maybe you don't notice any changes now in your body. You might have a memory of how your breath was in that moment when the conflict was happening. All the kings in the tarot can be stuck in their ways. They also can give some pretty good advice. If it feels good to you, you can take your hand or even your card, the King of Swords, to your heart and listen to see if you can intuit any messages or advice for how to navigate those type of conflicts, how to cut through the drama. King of Swords has no time for drama. And see if any messages come to you. And if not, that's okay. You can stay with the King of Swords for as long as you like. Just allow yourself to savor these final moments of meditation in whatever way feels good to you. Soak in any observations or knowings or sensations that have arisen in you. Is there anything you want to take with you? Just see if you can memorize that in your body. It's a piece of knowledge, maybe store it somewhere. It's a feeling. Just allow yourself to immerse yourself in that feeling again right now. Imagine yourself moving out in the world with a sense of certainty about what you believe. A sense of certainty about what you stand for. You feel ready to make a transition. Take as much time as you like, as you need to reorient to the outside world.